Sometimes hope does not disappear all at once. Sometimes it fades away slowly, one step at a time, as we walk away from what we thought our story would be. Hello, and welcome to Stories That Speak Today. I'm Alex. In this series, Light in the Dark, we're listening to stories that remind us how hope can appear when everything feels uncertain. Last time, we heard Job's story, a man who endured a long night of suffering without easy answers. Today, we step onto a quiet road outside Jerusalem where two followers of Jesus are leaving behind the place where their hopes seem to die. This episode is called The Road to Emmaus. It is the third day after Jesus was crucified. Jerusalem is still heavy with the memory of what happened. Two followers of Jesus are walking to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles away. As they walk, they talk about everything that has taken place. They had believed that Jesus was the one who would redeem Israel. But now he was gone, and the future feels uncertain. While they were talking, a stranger comes alongside them and begins walking with them. He asks a simple question. What are you discussing as you walk along? They stop. Their faces are downcast. One of them answers, almost surprised. Are you the only visitor in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days? The stranger asks, what things? So they begin to explain about Jesus of Nazareth, about the miracles, about the crucifixion, about the reports that the tomb is empty. But even as they speak, confusion still clouds their understanding. Then the stranger begins to speak. Starting with Moses and the prophets, he explains the scriptures to them, showing how the story had always pointed towards the suffering and resurrection of the Messiah. Something about his words stirs their hearts, but they still do not recognize who he is. As they reach the village, the stranger seems ready to continue on. But the two travelers urge him to stay. Stay with us, they say. It's nearly evening. So he joins them for a meal. When they sit down at the table, the stranger takes bread. He gives thanks, breaks it, and gives it to them. In that moment, their eyes are opened. They recognize him. It's Jesus. And then, just as suddenly, he disappears from their sight. The two look at each other in astonishment. Didn't our hearts burn within us as he walked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? That same hour, they return to Jerusalem. The night no longer feels heavy. Hope has returned. The two travelers thought their story had ended. They were walking away from Jerusalem, away from the place where their hopes had been buried. But the risen Christ was already walking beside them. They simply did not recognize him yet. Sometimes hope returns quietly, not in dramatic moments, but in understanding that slowly begins to grow. In conversations, in the gentle realization that God has been present all along. These disciples did not recognize Jesus at first, but later they realized something had been happening inside them. Their hearts were stirring while he spoke. Faith often begins that way, a quiet stirring, a new understanding, a growing sense that maybe the story's not over after all. The road they thought led away from hope became the road where hope found them again. Will you pray with me? Lord, when our hopes feel broken and the future feels uncertain, remind us that you are still walking beside us. Help us recognize your presence in the middle of ordinary moments. Open our hearts to understand your truth And when we feel like we are walking away from hope, help us discover that you have been with us all along. Amen. The story of the road to Emmaus is found in Luke 24:13 through 35. Next time on Stories That Speak Today, we'll hear Through the Night, the story of Daniel in the lion's den, and the quiet courage to remain faithful when darkness lasts longer than expected.